Well, the corporate cop ASIC has today said it will investigate the stock exchange operator, the ASX, over its failed attempt to replace its operating system with a blockchain alternative. Our business editor Ross Greenwood joins us now. Ross, why the investigation when the ASX buried the plan last year?
Really now this is raking over the coals as to what took place and how the directors behaved during this period of time. You might remember this was a 7-year project to try and change the CHESS system, which is basically the settlement system for shares in Australia, to a blockchain system. It was fraught with problems, continuously delayed and eventually written off last year with a loss of some $250 million. Well, now the corporate cop ASIC has stepped in and is basically investigating the directors of the various companies of the ASX in regards to a range of different areas. Now, there are certain parts of the Corporations Act under which they'll be investigated, which broadly break down to these areas: business judgment, continuous disclosure, in other words, their need to tell shareholders at all times what's taken place, misleading or deceptive conduct, and false or misleading information. Now, we should point out this information has come out from the ASX itself under its continuous disclosure obligations, not from ASIC. And it's just fascinating to note that this investigation certainly will look at the way in which it kept markets informed about this project, about the cost blowouts, and indeed about the fact that ultimately it is a significant failure for the ASX.
So, Ross, where does this leave the ASX? There have been pretty strong calls for it to be opened up to more competition, especially around the settlement of share trading.
Well, that's right, because the ASX has a monopoly on the settlement of shares in Australia. And there have been calls from a range of different organisations, Computershare, which runs the big share registry service. There's been others that have come into Australia from overseas that have also called for this to be opened up. And indeed, it's just a little over a week ago that the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, came out with a statement of his own, effectively saying that there is an investigation taking place right now, consultation to improve competition in the trading of shares and other securities as part of its reform to strengthen Australia's financial system. So this really comes from the failure of that particular blockchain initiative from the ASX, so that really now has opened up the prospect of more competition to the ASX itself.